Hi, this is Dr. Harjot Singh, and this video is part of your intention building, the first step in implementing what matters to help you develop yourself into a leader. We'll discuss your core and its parts and why you need to engage it if you're going to create intention. You see, this is a foundational component for you to create intention, to build motivation long term. The word root for intention is intendere, which means to stretch. For this, you'll have to stretch yourself so your mind is open to new learning and applications. And your intention is to create self awareness in this process, which is your main strategy to create awareness to prepare for action. Let's talk about your core first. By definition, the core is the central, most important, tough part of anything, like core competencies needed for a professional. But the core also contains the seeds in a fruit, like where new lives will grow from. So for you, the core can do both. It's a source of strength and a birthplace of a new you. We're referring to the structures within you that give you a sense of who you are and what others get to experience as you. It's actually pretty straightforward. You're born with certain traits, like a temperament. Then, in interactions with your family of origin and culture, later on with your learning culture and your work culture, you are shaped to do things a certain way. You relate to yourself and others a certain way, shows in your behavior. By the way, you do these things without being totally aware of them. You think through things a certain way, shows in your belief systems. One of those is your values. And when you're younger, you have a much clearer mission and purpose. Like for most physicians, it is to become one. But overall, it's kind of like an operating system. Your core has a hardware, your primary behavior pattern, a software made up of belief systems that guide it, like values. And just like any operating system, it has a function. Your core needs a purpose to exist. You see, it's easy so far. And that's where something very simple changing the course of events. And that simple something is hidden inside all of us. You see, we're an old species with an old DNA, neurology, neural pathways, biology, biochemistry. It has evolved over hundreds of thousands of years. And for most of our existence, the name of game, survival. And features that enhance chances of survival have been selected, and features that lower your chances of survival have been eliminated. Your fight flight response is a state of the art for that purpose. Like if a tiger crosses your path, a whole bunch of things happen that will help you survive without you having to think about it. The limbic system, combined with cascade of hormones, mainly cortisol, kick into high gear. You get a shot of adrenaline in your bloodstream, and all of this gives you the best possible chance to survive. If you're listening to this, your survival is taken care of: food, shelter, clothes, all good. But the game has changed. With the stressors of daily life, your brain is fooled into thinking a tiger is crossing your path all the time. And the state of the art survival mechanism can't tell the difference between what's real and what's not. But in reality, you're kind of like frozen in this state of high alert all the time, like tornado sirens going on all the time, but nothing is moving. This has pretty nasty effects on your health, but let's look at its effects on your workplace and leadership. I wrote about this in a series on my blog called SOBs. That's what I wrote there: stress, overwhelm, and burnout. So this, if you're stuck in this and your brain is stuck in this, it can't use the planning, thinking, the executive function part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex. So you're more likely to stay reactive instead of proactive. You'll fail to plan. You won't assess the risk properly. You will think only short term. You won't focus on long term goals. Like someone who doesn't feel any symptoms of hypertension and fails to take medication regularly because they feel fine. They're not aware of long term effects of what they are doing. For a leader, this means that you stay unaware of your behavior. You're inconsistent in doing things. You're moody. Your core values are not applied regularly, intentionally. You fail to have consistent results. All the while, you feel like, what's the purpose of this whole thing? It feels fuzzy. In fact, a common solution proposed is to create goals, and in workplaces and organization, vision. A future self or a future version of the organization is imagined, and that's supposed to help motivate you to get there. You see, I've created a helpful matrix I want to share, which illustrates when leaders rush into action before they have done the work needed to become a true leader, able to create lasting organizational change without engaging all parts of your core. A strong vision doesn't emerge. Look at the lower left-hand corner of the quadrant. A leader without vision and the core is not engaged. This is a sleeper. It's like Princess Aurora, like Sleeping Beauty, who's literally asleep through the half of her tail. She has no agency over her destiny, so things happen to her instead of her deciding to make things happen. No core, no vision, no motivation, no life change. Next up is a dreamer in the lower right corner, a princess with a clear vision, no core. Cinderella. She dreams, has no alignment, has no motivation. She's also at the mercy of the tides, unable to take control of her own destiny. Her life massively improves by the end of the story, but by accident, not through her own actions. We do have leaders who dream like Cinderella, waiting for good things to happen without motivation or engagement. The third one in the upper left-hand corner is the drifter. Core is woken up, has no vision. This is like Merida. She's a modern gal. She knows she wants to change tradition and move on from the old ways. She has intrinsic motivation, but no clear vision. She only knows what she doesn't want. She lacks clarity, direction, and focus. So she's not a true leader. And finally, we have a true leader. Upper right-hand corner, she has an engaged core, clear vision. She's Tiana from The Princess and the Frog. She's a working class human with clear vision of the restaurant she wants to own. She has a picture of it in her bedroom to be reminded daily of the future she envisions. She also teaches herself to run a restaurant, to learn to cook, and she's exercising that core, and she's ready when that opportunity comes. She is the whole package, a true leader. By the end of the tale, she gets exactly what she wants. With clarity, direction, focus, alignment, motivation, engagement, her dreams become a reality. Because you see, here's the reality. Studies show that most visions and strategic plans fail. Organizations use the buzzword, they schedule a mandatory company-wide meeting and hand out new guidelines everyone is now expected to follow. It's like throwing a fresh coat of paint on an old wall to cover up the cracks. The foundation is still weak underneath. This type of vision will always fail to create action or real change. Most employees just grin and bear it, biding their time until a new vision shows up they're expected to fall in line with. This is no different than setting New Year resolutions and forgetting them by January 12th. The only answer to this mystery is that leaders themselves must find their own reasons that come from their core. It's only when a leader strengthens both core and vision that a grand, purposeful story unfolds. In order to create this compelling vision, it can't merely be a slightly tweaked version of what others are doing. Don't fall prey to the fads of the moment. And in your impatience to make the change, cause the action, you'll have a watered down version of a vision that's not going to work. So you can see a vision without core lacks motivation and alignment. It may strike some people as excitement, start with a bang, but it's going to fail. In order to create any goal, any vision that others will follow, first your own core must be explored and applied. This will engage your performance brain, not the survival brain, your executive functioning brain, not the reactive survival brain. It's kind of like, again, how the operating system works. If the operating system is overloaded with viruses, too many programs running, it can't perform at its best. An example is in order. Just look at this important part of the vision process, communicating your vision. It's not just about having written in glossy letters or sending out in emails. It takes work, practice to become skilled communicator. Look at this picture. People understand less than what we say, much less than what our true feelings or any subject. In fact, when I ask leaders and managers in seminars about how many of them know and remember their organization's mission, vision, and values, hardly anyone is able to recall and say it. So it takes a lot of failed attempts, learning to be humble. Then you become better at defining and communicating your vision over many years. Yes, years. We're not talking about some kind of hacks and tips. This is real deep work. You see how long Zappos took to create just their values? 1 year. Tony Hsieh was surprised that it took so long, but he said, we wanted to believe in what it was true and what it was going to be so they could truly embrace it. So when you take this kind of a task in your busy lives, if your core is out of commission, it's not going to work. So you have to make a choice here. Which brain are you going to use? And how will you do that? Are you going to run your operating system full of viruses and outdated programs? Or let it upgrade itself so it can serve you to be successful now? You'll need to bring your performance brain to the game if you're going to create intention through self-awareness. Figure out your vision and work on your behavior, your values, and your purpose that motivate you. That's what the next 3 parts are about when we discuss your core values and purpose and your primary behavior and taking responsibility. So I'll see you in the training.